Morning, everyone. My name is Joanne Butcher. I am a business coach and the owner of Filmmaker Success, where we help filmmakers learn how to raise money and get their films made and produced and into distribution. And today I'm very excited to introduce to you one of my fabulous clients. And her name is Maria Petschnig. And we don't do a bio on our podcast because we start way at the beginning before your career even started. And then we'll learn everything about you as we go along. So my first question always is, when did you first know that you were a filmmaker?
Yeah, I knew about this question right off the bat. So for me, it wasn't this one moment. It was a gradual process, I'd say. I always knew that I wanted to become an artist, and I went to art school in Austria to study painting. And then I graduated with the master's for painting, and I did shows, and I did fairly well. But was already experimenting with film, and I did a few short films, and then I moved to New York because I was seeking new input and impulses, and soon after that, I was questioning where my paintings were going, and then I had a residency, a 2 months residency, where I said I gave myself this project. I would do a new short film for that.
Mm.
And I returned with this piece and I showed it to a close artist friend of mine. And it had a very strong reaction. And I could feel it, I could see it with him. And it was very powerful. And soon after that, I stopped painting. It didn't make sense for me. I knew I had way more possibilities, and it was more liberating in an artistic way.
Mm.
So
What even made you choose that short film? You know, when you went to the residency, what made you
it
choose
was
to make that?
one reason was for practical reasons. I didn't want to bring a lot of materials with me,
Oh,
so
that is a very practical reason.
yeah, I'm glad that I took the small video camera back then with me.
And what was that short film called and what was it about?
It was called Scopophilic. There was, and it's so my first films, they were extensions of my paintings, and there was a performative aspect in the paintings already, uh, some psychological themes, and I used to model as a uh, for, I don't know. The works are very abstract, but I used myself. I was posing in the mirror for
Mm,
sketches.
wow.
They weren't self-portraits in any way. I
Right.
tried to move away from representational image very much,
Aha.
but basically or essentially, what I was doing to prepare to find images was more interesting than the outcome, the results, and so
Mhm.
I was filming these preparations, the movement in front of the mirror, these things.
Mhm.
But the
Mhm.
scopophilic, because there was a voyeuristic element to, because I was all alone in my room, and you couldn't tell what was going on, what you would see, and what this was all about, this posing, and yeah.
Interesting. So what does scopophilic mean? The love of what?
It's the pleasure of watching
Of
something.
watching. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting because the film that I worked on with you has very much it's a very sort of close look at the artist. Now that I'm hearing you talk about your early work as a filmmaker and even before that as a painter, I can see the progression. Um, and but it's also from a very thoughtful perspective. I know another filmmaker who tends to make films about the artist, and they're always the artist is being misunderstood. Whereas I think in your film, the artist is not necessarily misunderstood as misunderstanding. So that's interesting. So you just stopped painting. And did you think that New York was a good place to be as a filmmaker?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I
There
would
were
think it would be
there were
great.
stages, often you're not so aware of it. You just take it all in and you're fascinated. Sometimes because you can't help but compare, it's not so great. But all in all, it was a wonderful, or it is a wonderful place to position yourself, to reposition, because my work changed very much. This what I just told you, this, which happened maybe 2 or 3 years after I moved there, there for me stop painting, and I felt very guilty for a while because I
Oh,
always thought this is okay. This is my profession. I chose to do that, or that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. It wasn't,
right.
yeah, wasn't such a break. Well, maybe it was. But though I knew, maybe I can say one more thing. This deliberate decision to not paint anymore came with the choice, with the decision to get another job, because I wouldn't be able to sell something.
Right.
I I had some I had to look for some more regular, and another job for a while. Mm. On the, like, that would pay, a day job that would pay the bills. So it
Yeah,
would,
yeah,
I was making it harder for myself because I had contacts and I had a certain network, uh, that I was falling back on with my paintings, but I just I could feel that this was making me more happy, and so
right.
much more to explore. And I was looking for something new, something different. But it
It's
was,
interesting.
it's also so much more satisfying.
I went through
Sorry.
a similar thing when I became a coach, and I became a coach in sex and relationships. That was what I trained as. And pretty quickly, in that work, we were, one the thing that we privileged in that work was the information that the body gives you. That the information the body gives you cannot be denied. And pretty quickly, I started to get the information that actually I liked filmmaking more, more than I was interested in sex and relationships. And I had to, well, I didn't have to, but anyway, I made a decision to leave that community and go out by myself. And it wasn't so much that I felt guilty. I think I did feel guilty about leaving the community, but um, to go from this vibrant community of people off to myself by myself, that was very, very difficult, a very difficult decision to make. It's like I have this community over here, I have this network, I have all these people, and we all speak the same language, and now I'm going off by myself to do something completely different and go back to film, which I had thought that I had left behind. So I really identify with what you're saying. And I think what I was thinking about New York was I think of New York as being a real vibrant filmmaking hub. And so when you went into film, did you find that community there? Did you find a film
I
community?
did. It took a few years, but it
Ah,
also had to do with the fact that I was a bit lost in the work, and I first wanted to figure out where do I position myself, and how do I even want to show this work, who would be interested, what's the environment for it, because it's for a while it was galleries and exhibitions, and it was in in the form of installations. It wasn't a
Right.
theater.
Right.
Eventually, it became that. So I was
So
just
you were still kind of in the art world, you know, when I think of
yes.
art with a
Mhm.
capital A, in the
Mhm.
painting world, in the
Yes.
museum
Yeah.
gallery world. Yes.
But it
Yeah.
was working behind closed doors because I didn't want to show it to anybody for a while. I was just experimenting and testing out things. And that was, in retrospect, a very, very productive phase, but I was also very lonely. But I really found my trajectory of my footing, and yeah, it made me stronger in the end.
Mm.
And then, as let's say, as by the time I was ready to share it and I was confident enough, I found the community and the places and the peers. Yeah.
And was that community by then, was it still in the art world or was it now, did you transition into
Both. It was
both?
both.
Interesting. Because I too, I started in the art world and I moved into the cinema world, but I have very few clients who started out in that art world. But that's very, very familiar to me. And I know that world very well, even though I don't spend much time there anymore. But and I really understand that trajectory. And there have been many filmmakers who made that transition, French New Wave filmmakers. And I happen to be very familiar with Cuban filmmakers, and they all started because they were following what was happening in Paris. So they started out in the art world and then transitioned into cinema. And that's a very common move for Cuban filmmakers. So that's very interesting. So when did you really fully find yourself making narrative films? If you ever have, I shouldn't put words in your mouth.
No, but yeah, that's not that long ago. Um, but I wouldn't be able to tell somebody else would see, okay, this is more narrative, whereas before it was more about just imagery, more more visual. It happened gradually. Let's say for the past 10 years, maybe the past 8 years, something like that.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. And what was the first narrative film that you made? Was it also a short?
Yes, because I've made over 20 shorts by now. Uh, I was always interested in this ambiguity, to not reveal too much, to leave a lot open to interpretation and whatever you want to see in it. Mm. There was a work where I don't want to pick one.
Uh-huh,
It's
uh-huh.
hard, it's hard to answer that.
Right, right.
It's, what was always interesting for me. I'm sure many creators have that you do something and it's a lot of it is intuitive, and then when you show it, maybe somebody would write about it or tell you about it, they put it into words, and you're fascinated of they could sum it up. Yes, it's accurate. um and you weren't at that point yet to put it into a few sentences. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
remember making a film years ago, and I had just moved to Miami, and I made this film, some in London and some in Miami. And the first time I screened it, I was shocked to find that I had made a film the exact opposite of the film I thought I had made.
Oh, really?
Yes, because I left England at a time when it felt as though England was sort of dead and without anything interesting happening. People didn't have work. It was the end of a very difficult economic period. All the people who graduated college when I did, we were the first people who went straight on the dole and didn't have work.
Oh,
And so I left. I went to Spain first, and then I came to Miami. And I saw Miami as being this vibrant place, and I couldn't believe the amount of building that was going on. There were all this construction, whereas in England there was nothing. And so I made this film and I showed these different things. And then when I saw the film for the first time with an audience, I realized, but London was so vibrant and full of color and relationships and movement. And Miami was static and concrete. And it was the exact opposite of what I thought I was saying. And I was so shocked. I was
but
like,
how interesting. What a revelation. And
yes, the film was an entirely different film than I thought I was making, but clearly something else was underneath was being said. That was what actually was being expressed. And I was blown away by that experience.
how long did you work on that piece?
Um, I don't know, maybe a year or something like that, you
Mhm.
know. But yeah, I can still see it, all these images of so much color in London and so much washed out because I probably didn't know how to deal with the light in Miami is probably what it was. But yeah, yeah.
But you know, Joanne, and one part is working with you too, to be able to explain, describe what you do, what the project is about. For me, the other reason is when you apply for grants, that they want you to write a long description and that it is very helpful.
The writing part,
Yes,
yes.
yes, yes, yes.
Writing about your work is so valuable. And that's why I always want all my clients to write grants, just to have that experience of writing about ourselves and our own work and seeing ourselves from a different perspective. It's really valuable. So when you and I met and we worked together, was that for so that you could make your first feature film?
Yeah, feature narrative film, because I
Feature.
I had done a feature documentary before
Oh,
on
that's
a
right.
smaller
That's right.
scale, on a smaller
Yes.
scale.
What was the documentary about? Remind me. I know I watched it back then.
I met this very charismatic, interesting person in my neighborhood who then told who I took as a new neighbor, and then who revealed to me that he was living in his car
Mm,
and using the gym and the showers there on the corner every day. And I would have never thought that he would be a houseless person, but but he told me instantly when no, first I knew he had this job. I saw him at this place where he was working first,
mhm.
and
Right.
then and when we talked, and this was on my block, and he told me that this the car over there is where he sleeps and lives. Mm, this was a big surprise. And there was an instant connection. Um, and the next time I saw him by chance, I asked him many questions, and slowly, we became, we befriended one another. And I asked him if I could bring my camera along, or record our conversations. And that became, we soon after that decided we would do this project for a year and collect material, and then that I would make a film. I wasn't thinking of a feature length film back
Uh-huh.
then,
Uh-huh.
but it
Uh-huh.
grew, and that was the project. Yeah.
And where did that film end up being screened? Where did people see that film?
So I had distribution right after I finished it, which was great, and they submitted it to different festivals, and then it screened at a festival in Germany where it won a great award. That was
Really?
There was a really nice thing that happened, yeah, right away. So I knew that it would have a good start. It would be appreciated.
And it's it's uncomfortably comfortable. So Emily just put the IMDb link. So can people still see it?
Yeah, it's there's a platform where you can
Yes.
screen it. Yeah, where you can stream
Fantastic.
it.
Fantastic. Uncomfortably comfortable. Which really could be the title of your next film.
That's right. Yes.
It could be, it could be. So Emily, let's watch the trailer for Neat and Beautiful Room, and then we'll start talking about your first narrative feature.
Okay, I'll send you the deposit tonight.
And I'm easy to live with.
My new roommate.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you.
This has really been my worst experience.
What and when do you have breakfast?
Are you kidding? An hotel? This is not. Please, I have to go now. No! I'm starting to feel uncomfortable in my own place.
Yes, uncomfortably comfortable. So beautiful and neat room. That was painful even watching the trailer. It's you're very, very good at awkward.
Yes, I get that.
Very good at awkward. So tell everybody a little bit about Beautiful and Neat Room and why you were drawn to make this film.
It's a very autobiographical film and story because it tells what I've experienced over so many years living in New York and a way to survive as an artist and be able to have enough time and energy for pursuing my career. I would rent out my guest room to different people, and I met a lot of different characters, and I was in 2022 I was working on another film and on that script, and the writing didn't go according to plan. I got lost, and then this other friend suggested that I should just write down some of my crazy experiences with these roommates, and I did, and it came so easily, and it started to pour out of me. The writing was so fast and pleasant and easy that I soon after that dropped the other script, and that was the start for this film idea, and I think I sensed that my time in New York would come to an end, and what just a perfect way of ending this chapter of my life and making a film still. And because I shot in my apartment during a whole year because we this is how we structured it and organized it, that we filmed in 6 different phases.
Was that because you had 6 roommates? Or were there 8?
Yeah, it's, yeah, in the end, the script had 6 different stories. And it was manageable. It was, because so basically each shot was a short film, and I didn't have all the funds in the beginning for economical reasons, and for it was just more feasible.
So tell everybody what the film is really about.
It's about a fiercely artistic woman who, in order to be able to afford her life in New York, she rents out the spare bedroom of her Brooklyn apartment, and these different people that they seem normal, but they're secretly crazy, and they push her to, or they reveal a lot about the human psyche, and they are very boundary pushing situations.
Yeah, I could imagine that this film, which is definitely a comedy, would also make a really good subject for a horror film.
Yes.
If things just went a little different. But the people who show up, it's so fun in the film that everybody who shows up looks perfectly normal to start with, perfectly normal. And it takes time for the craziness to show up, sometimes quickly, sometimes more slowly, but the craziness keeps showing up. And what about the artist? You know, how does she deal with all these crazy people coming into her space?
She tries to, I mean, that's the thing. It's the drawing of the boundaries, and she tries to not get involved, but she's not the easiest personality herself. I think it's the combination of 2 people, and you don't know what will happen. It's not just, and this became clear soon. You know, when we started shooting, and I was still developing the other vignettes, that it's not gonna be, also has her issues, and they need to also come through, and that will make it more, can be more drama there and more depth. I don't know. How does she deal with it? She tries to keep, it doesn't always work, or she reveals her, she has this therapist in her life, and over Zoom, and this is when she shares her anxieties and fears with that.
Although I would say, and this again, because it is a comedy, that she's never scared of them, I don't think. She's never afraid of these people. She's just irritated.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, she's never afraid of them, and that's really what makes it a comedy, because, as I said, it could very easily tip over somewhere else, but she's just never scared. She never feels threatened in any way or anything like that, but she's irritated, and she wants to do her work, and she wants to get her art done. And it's always so clear. I want to focus on my art. This is why I'm doing this. I want to focus on my art. And I feel as though that is an issue for all artists, whether they're dealing with a roommate situation or not. But it's like, I just want to do my art. Can I have some peace to do my art? but there's always all these other things pulling, whether it's working, earning money, something, there's all this stuff pulling at our time and energy. So it makes it difficult. Yeah. So how did you raise the money for the film? How did you go about raising the funding for the film?
So initially I got a smaller grant to develop the film. And then I received from the same place, this was in Austria, a good chunk to start shooting. 2/3, that's between a half and 2/3 that covered that one grant. And I reached out to private donors, and that worked incredibly. And then towards the end, I already did another crowdfunding campaign. So it was 3 different sources.
Yes, which I just think is so great, because I'm always teaching, that there's a variety of ways we can raise money. We don't need to raise money in one way. And I think a lot of people kind of assume that, they're like, oh, I need $100,000. I need $300,000 and I'm going to raise it with crowdfunding. And it's like, no. So you had grants from Austria, you had, it was very interesting, the reaching out to individual donors that was not a crowdfunding campaign, because I think a lot of people don't realize they can do that. You don't have to do a public campaign to reach out to individual donors, and you did really well with that. I remember you had worked on this email, and then you sent that email out and it brought in some funds, and then one day you were sort of like, well, now what do I do? I was like, okay, we're going to write another email. And over time, what percentage of the people you asked to gave, would you guess?
I was very specific when I came up with that list already. I put a lot of thought into it. Most of them gave money, and this was such a big surprise. And but at the same time, it was so, what should I say? It meant way more than just the financial support. It became, it was this emotional support and the backbone for the project, which I underestimated. That knowing that there's this group of people and they believe in you, they trust you, and they're so excited for you. That's another big plus of reaching out and asking. So let's say 2/3, if not more, maybe 3/4. Let's say 3/4 of them.
Right. And I've heard this from many of my clients, what you just said, where they were not counting on this feeling of being supported, by a whole community of people. And I think it's such a beautiful thing, because we all go into fundraising thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be asking people for money. And everybody says the same thing. They always say, I don't feel comfortable asking people for money. It's like, and everybody else, So we all start in this way of feeling so uncomfortable, and then, and then we get over those discomforts and we actually do it. And then it turns into this beautiful experience of like, all these people are with me, supporting me, and it helps, because there's always going to be tough moments on a film, always. But you have all these people who are supporting you. Were there tough moments on the film? Do you remember any moments on the film where you were like, what am I doing here?
Because I'm going to do it differently in my next film, because I split it up into these 6 different shoots. And they were weekend shoots over 3 or 4 days. And then there was a month or two in between. Yeah, let's say 2 months in between. I had to always find the momentum again, motivate the cast and the crew. And so we did 6 of them. And let's say by shoot number 4 or 5, the people, they weren't excited anymore. And I had to pull. I had this feeling that I really had to pull everything and remind everybody to bring out their best. So, I'm sure you have this in one, if you do just one long shoot, that in the middle, people are just not as energetic. Maybe that's the case.
I think you're my only client who has done it that way with the multiple shoots. Everybody else has done it, in one go. And I did have a client who called me in the middle of his 14-day shoot, and they were going to shut down the production the next day. It was like day 7 or something like that. And it just so happened that they were shooting in the same location that they were staying in. So it was this big old building, and the owner of the building got very upset about something that happened on set, where they were basically shooting till 2 a.m. with an actress who was very pregnant. And he was so upset, he said, I'm throwing you out. So he had the capacity to shut down the film. And so my client is calling me, in a panic. And I said, well, you got to get in there to that meeting, and you have to figure out what you have to say to make this move forward. And he was like, well, I'm not this. And I said, you got to get over that right now, because you have to say whatever needs to be said to make this work. And he was able to do it, and they were able to finish the film, and the film came out beautifully. But I had a client whose father died on day 10 of a production. So you never know what is going to happen and what is going to take the wind out of your sails, but I think that it may be different, when shooting over 14 days than, shooting like that. I can see why by number 5 or number 6, people are like,
when is this? Yeah, when do we wrap?
Yes. Yeah. When you did wrap, was it fun? Did you have a party or anything like that? Did you?
It was enthusiastic. I was also very tired and exhausted, and I didn't want to think of a party right away.
Right.
But it was enthusiastic, and we became a family for sure. Yeah. We had the sense that we grew together, and it was beautiful. It was a wonderful experience. Many have fond memories of our.
Will you work with any of your collaborators again?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Anyone in particular?
The production and costume designer. It was just such a smooth sailing with her. We were instantly on the same page, and we never fought. We never had any discussion. Amazing. And then I'll see what the next film needs.
Yes.
Yeah. But I will not be in New York doing my next film. I'll be in Europe, so I have to somewhat rely on and find a new crew.
Different, yeah.
That will be interesting.
Yeah. So when it came to post-production, you handled all of that yourself, is that right?
More or less, yes. Yeah.
Did you even handle the sound and the color or did you?
No, I did a lot, but I still I worked with professionals, and that was important. Yeah, I mean, everybody's will say this, that you learn so much on your first film, and so much better the next time. And I'll be happy to not have so many roles anymore and not be that involved. And I don't know about the controlling part, but to just outsource and hand over things to others. I'm looking.
Hand over to the professionals. Yes, yes. So you finished the film, and did you submit to a number of festivals?
Many. Yeah, it's a bit daunting and a bit nerve-wracking, the submitting to the festivals, and maybe one gets better because you get a better sense over time where you fit in,
Right.
what kind of film this is and where it belongs and what the audience is.
See,
Yes,
that's
but
so
that's a whole
interesting.
different thing, the film festival route. Yeah.
So that's so interesting when you say you learn what kind of film this is, because I think people don't realize that. Right? So it's like my experience with my London, Miami film, but you don't know what the film is. You think you made a film, but it may very well not be the film that you thought you made.
Yeah.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
So when you got into the Split Film Festival in Croatia, did that one feel as though, oh, this is my home, this is my people, this is where I belong? Is that how that
To a
came?
certain, yes, to mostly. Well, the team there, they told me that they're really looking for very, very different, not mainstream work. But they get a lot of submissions also from filmmakers who've screened at Cannes or big festivals, but they just want something different, and that was reassuring that I don't fit in most festivals. And some other things they said were, or certain things that you don't consider as a filmmaker, that the big glamorous festivals, or say that's the big festivals, they have a lot of sponsors behind them, and they need to please these sponsors. So they make certain decisions according to that, and you have to have a certain budget. For example, it has to have a certain look that your film cost a couple of $1 million, and you just don't have that when you make a small film. You will, no matter what the film is about and how good it is, it will just not look big enough. And yeah, for example, or every festival has this different mission, and it's political a lot in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Did they say that they felt your film wouldn't fit in most festivals? Or are you?
No, that was just my assumption.
That's your assumption. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that the issue of budget is incredibly important. And I have a client whose film is just now going into festivals, and he was able to cast a couple of names, not names of anyone you would know, anything like that. But one face that you might go, oh, I recognize that face, right? And it's getting into a lot of festivals. And so I think that at a certain level of festivals, smaller festivals, that having that little name recognition, it really is just a little bit of name recognition, but it's got him an MG, it's got him a very excited distribution, and that little bump up, has made a big difference. And it's funny because you know me, I'm always like, let's make the budget less. And he was one of my only clients that I said, if you could go up $50,000, I think we could get some names. And so he did. He went up $50,000 and he got some names. But it makes a big difference. And but still.
But this wasn't his first. May I ask, how many films did this person?
This was his second. Yeah. He had made a film before with no names. So I said, okay, for you, that's the next step, to have, names. And but I think that the truth is that I always say this, the goal of a film festival is to sell tickets.
Yes,
It is not to support filmmakers.
exactly.
And so their job is to sell tickets so that they can come back next year and have another film festival, you know. But this film festival, from, you know, when I saw that you won the grand prize, how is that possible with your very small budget film? How is
Yeah,
that
this was so wonderful to experience because I was there. Because I'm sure every filmmaker, when you screen your film for the first time publicly, you want to die. You all your doubts and your fears, they come out.
Yes.
You know, it wasn't just that. I also liked a lot what I saw, and I was very proud. But then in between, you're so self-conscious. You think people are going to leave before the film is over, and this wasn't the case. And it was just, people liked it. There was a lot of cheer, and it was so obvious. It was obvious that it grabbed the audience and the people. And
Was there
yeah,
a lot
wonderful.
of laughter? Did people laugh a lot?
Sometimes, not a lot, but a fair amount.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot. Yeah, my favorite film critic, Mark Commode in England, they call it a comedy if it gets more than 5 laughs.
Yeah, then it is a comedy. Then
That's
the
right.
film is a comedy.
And they say, you know, that there are many times films that are promoted as comedies and they don't laugh 5 times. Right? That's common. Because comedy is itself a strange thing, right? It's possible to I find comedy very difficult and I don't laugh very much.
I'm the same.
You know, I don't laugh very much. But yeah, so they say, you know, if you laugh 5 times, it qualifies justly as a comedy. But I know that when I had the experience of watching my clients' films in an audience, it's so fun to hear the laughter, you know, because you're so used to sitting and watching that film on your computer, you know, and or going from reading the script and then watching it on the computer or seeing a few clips here and there. And then to see it in an audience and hear people laughing, it's such a joy.
Yes.
That communal experience that you can only have in a theater. It's not the same as streaming it at home by yourself. But yes, so was it a jury that gave the grand
Yes.
prize?
Yeah.
And were you competing against much larger budget films?
No, I wouldn't say. They was similar lower
micro
budget.
budget. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Very nice. So what's happening next with the film? What's the next road on its journey?
There's some more festivals. I think that next year it's gonna have more exposure by next year. And distribution.
Are you going to
in
wait?
The works.
Yeah, are you going to wait until the festivals are done to go into distribution?
Or towards the end, maybe in a few months, thinking about getting that going.
Right. And do you know of any festivals yet that when it's going to be?
One in London.
Oh,
Yeah.
which
Yes.
one?
Yes. It's called Little Venice Film Festival.
Little Venice. Oh,
Yeah.
Lovely.
And I'm on the short list for Berlin, and it's at the same time as the Berlinale, but this is called the Critics. It's the Critics Week. And
Right.
it's already on the short list. I know very soon. And then there's this Austrian Film Festival in March. I mean, chances are it's going to screen there. That's as far as I can talk about.
Very nice. So the Berlin Critics Film Festival. Very interesting. And so what about your next film? What do you know yet? Anything about it? Do you know what you're going to be doing?
It is going, so and this is maybe a reason why I'll be in Austria. I'm in Vienna right now. I might be there for the most of this process of writing and developing this film. It will have to do with my family and the place I grew up.
Oh,
I'm from a small village, a very small town in the countryside, and it's a 400-old building. It has the building I grew up. It's a big house. It has a lot of history, and
wow.
and then it will somehow revolve around my dad and my relationship to my father. I'll see if this will be this about this relationship, if this will be the center stage of the film, or if it will be about other things as well.
And you'll be
I
able to
wanted,
shoot it in that building? You'll be able to shoot it in that building?
yes.
Oh,
And I
wow.
want to film. It used to be a hospital, a prison. It used to be a school and a police station. It has a little tower there where they kept the prisoners.
Wow.
And so it can accommodate a big crew if I wanted to. And yeah, I'm excited.
Will it also be a comedy?
I don't know yet. It shouldn't be
Ah,
too somber
uh-huh.
and heavy, that's for sure. I'll
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It could easily be a horror film.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
maybe I'll go that route, or it will be a farce.
For some reason,
Strange.
it's making me think of who's the very famous French actress who now directs? Julia Dupuis?
Ducournau or so.
No,
Ducournau.
not Ducournau. That's
No?
the young one. This is an older woman. Well, not older. She's not my age.
What did she do?
She used to be a very big star, sex symbol star. And she made this film recently, and it was extraordinary. And it was about this little village somewhere in France. And they're all excited because they're going to be taking in this refugee family from the Ukraine. And they've set up a little apartment for them, and they've filled it up with food, and they've set up a way that they can get more food, and they're going to have them go to this school, and they're all excited. And the whole town goes outside.
Oh, I know, Julie Delpy.
Julie Delpy.
Julie Delpy, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they all go
I saw
outside.
the trailer.
And they say, sorry, they're not coming from the Ukraine, they're coming from Syria.
Mm-hmm.
And everything turns around. And so she manages to do this whole thing about racism as a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so wonderful.
Oh.
It's so wonderful. There's something about being able to deal with this horrifying topic, very, very dark topics as a comedy. I'm actually going to see a movie tonight called Nuremberg, about the Nuremberg trials, starring Russell Crowe and Rami Malek. And people are raving about this film. It's going to be winning Oscars, but apparently there's some comedy in it. That's very unusual in a movie about the Holocaust. So I definitely, commend your leaning towards comedy. It's great. It's great. And I'm excited to know that you're planning on making your next film. So how long are you actually going to be in the States for?
So
you're done. You're done. You're out.
I'm kind of done. I will go there in a few weeks. I'm gonna move everything out of my apartment. Right now I'm subletting the place. But I don't want to say goodbye to the States.
Right.
Just for the meantime, I want something else, and I need to figure out where then what the next phase of my life will look like. But it will also be dominated by my next project. It's if it needs to be, I mean, I'm making it sound weird, but if it needs to be Austria, it needs to be Austria for my next film. So this is where I'm gonna settle. But I'm very drawn to England. I still want to be traveling and living abroad. I'll see what the future brings.
Yes, yes, you're a traveler by nature. Me too.
Yes, being a foreigner has advantages, right?
Yeah.
Being a stranger in a
Yes,
strange
yes.
place.
You have a perspective on things that is just
Exactly.
always a bit different. And it's definitely a perspective that I can tell I'm more comfortable in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's freedom to it. You
Yes.
can the decisions you're able to make.
Yes, yes. Well, Maria, thank you so much. And
Thank
I'm
you,
so
Joanne. What a
excited.
pleasure.
Yeah, I'm so excited for your next festival screenings. They sound wonderful. London, Berlin. I don't know how it could get better
I'll
than
keep
that.
you posted.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you, Emily. And thanks,
Thanks,
Kevin,
Emily.
for coming and listening. And Maria, did you have any questions, Kevin? Sorry, I should have asked.
You asked all the great questions, and congratulations, Maria.
Thank you, Kevin. That means a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Happy Thursday, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.